Hello everyone, and welcome to the, what is it now, the 24th concert streaming live from Teachín Ceoil. This is approximately the 2-year anniversary. It's the nearest Thursday to the 2-year anniversary. I'm going to play the same concert, or the same music that I did for the very first concert back when I hadn't really figured out how the stage would look on Facebook Live. I kind of threw something together and we went at it. And hopefully things have kind of come together a little bit better since then. So I'm going to start off. So first off, yeah, this concert is entirely Donegal music and music I learned in Donegal. So at the time I had spent the summer prior to 2 years ago over in Ireland, and had a great week in Glen. Took workshops, learned a bunch of great tunes, and a lot of them made it into this concert. It was still flying high from that big trip. But a lot of these tunes that I'd known for years and kind of all came together. So I'm going to start off with a set of reels. This first one, the Blacksmith's Fancy, it has an Irish name as well, which means the Blacksmith's Fancy. My Irish pronunciation needs work, so I won't torture you with that. And the second tune is called the Drunken Tinker, and hope you enjoy. So the second set of tunes here is a whole bunch of Highlands. The first one, I think it's from James Byrne's playing. I was chatting with a friend earlier, asking him after the names of the tunes that I don't have names for, and she said, yeah, it's a James Byrne tune, that first one. The second one is called Peter Bailey's, and I got it in the workshop that I took in Glencalmkill 2.5 years ago. And it's a fun tune to play. And the third one is called the Low Highland. And this was also taught in that workshop, but I learned it many years before as well. So, James Byrne's, Peter Bailey's, and the Low Highland. Sip of tea. Often think of slip jigs, but there are a couple of slip jigs that are very much associated with Donegal. I'm going to play a couple of them here. One is Gusty's Frolics. And there's several different versions of this tune floating around, but Alton recorded a version of it many years ago, and it caught on like wildfire. It's a lovely tune. And the second tune is called The Ferry. So Gusty's Frolics and The Ferry, a couple of slip jigs. But played a little more boldly than you might normally hear slip jigs played. was Gusty's Frolics and the Fairy. And yes, this bold playing is pulling my strings wonky. Sorry about that. All right, well, I'm going to calm things down now and play you a slow air. This is from the playing of John Doherty. He says the story behind it is he learned it from someone named Paddy, and he has a story behind it, in that he was coming home late one night, as you do, and was walking through a park area, basically a field, and there were a bunch of stone piles here and there, and he was walking through, and he heard singing coming from behind one of the piles of stone, and so he went off that way to see who was singing, and then he heard the voice coming from behind a different pile, and he went over to that one to hear the singing, and heard it coming from a different pile, and he spent all night going from rock pile to rock pile trying to find the singer, and this is the tune that they were singing. That's the story. But John Doherty is the only source for this tune, and it's commonly accepted that he composed it. Everyone who plays it got it from his playing, or got from somebody who got it from his playing, or so forth. So it's called Paddy's Rambles Through the Park, and I hope you enjoy it. is Paddy's Rambles Through the Park. All right. Whew, and now for a complete different direction here. Okay, a couple of kind of Strathspey sort of things. They're originally Scottish tunes, and they came over and got played quite a bit. These two got put together and recorded by a very young Tommy Peoples quite a while back. And there's a great YouTube of him playing these two tunes. And I'm no Tommy Peoples, but they're great tunes, and I'm going to play them anyway. The first one is called The Laird of Drumblair, and the second is Little John's Hame. They're great little flashy tunes, quite fun to play. But if you're so inclined, look up Tommy Peoples playing them, because that'll set you going. But I'll give them a go anyway. Drumblair and Little Johnny's Hame. All right. Speaking of Tommy Peoples, I'm going to play a tune composed by him called Pat McHugh's, and he composed this for his late friend who was a singer after he passed away. But it's a great reel, 3-part G minor, great old tune. And I was lucky enough to have a workshop with him where he taught this tune. I'm going to follow that up with the Glory reel, which is another big Donegal reel I can kind of lash away on and get the fingers moving. So yeah, Pat McHugh's and the Glory reel. that was Pat McHugh's and the Glory Reel. All right. Now I get to play some weird and wonky, quirky tunes that I learned that summer over 2.5 years ago over in Glencalmkill. Kieran Mhín was the teacher of the workshop I was in, and he gave us a bunch of hornpipes, and he paired one of these with a different one that I am not going to play. But I've been putting these two together rather frequently. I did for the original one of the Teachín Ceoil concert 2 years ago, and I really like how these two go together. The first one is called the Low Level Hornpipe, a lovely tune in B flat, because why not? And the second one is called Princess Beatrice, and it's very, very, very quirky and different sort of tune. So I hope you enjoyed. I very much enjoyed it as well. So this first one is called the Shamrock, and the second two I did not have names for until I consulted my friend Shay. And she says that the second one she heard from Jimmy Campbell, and the third one is called Kitty Shans, and I think I did have that name on it at one point in time because that sounds very familiar. So the Shamrock, Jimmy Campbell's, and Kitty Shans. I'm gonna get in a barn dancing mode. Shamrock, Jimmy Campbell's, and Kitty Shan's. Or Kitty Shan's? I think it's Kitty Shan's, I'm not sure. Let's see. All right. Oh, so I'm going to play a tune that's very much associated with that particular area of Donegal, near the coast there. So this tune has kind of made the rounds and been played a whole bunch of different ways. It's originally called Tuam na Farraige. Tuam means the sound of na Farraige, the big ocean, the Atlantic, basically. So it's commonly called the Atlantic Roar. And it was written, depending on who you ask, it's either written by Anthony Halferty or John Mosey McGinley. But I think the general consensus these days is Anthony Halferty. In either case, the story behind the tune is very similar depending on who the composer is. The composer was coming home after a big night or a wedding, depending on who you ask, and fell asleep next on the cliffs overlooking the ocean, either near Ardra or near Glen, depending on who you ask, and heard the sound of the waves all night long and woke up with this tune in their head. And that's how it came to be. And it is commonly played as a hornpipe, but I can't remember who it was originally said, well, really it was kind of played as a descriptive tune. I learned it many years ago. The first time I was in Glen, I had the teacher of the workshops that year was Ronan Galvin, and he played this and told the story behind it. And he played it in the more descriptive piece way, and said when he first heard the story, he and his friends kind of sat near the ocean and listened to the waves and tried to time the phrases with the waves coming in, rolling in. So I'm going to make an attempt at that and see how it goes. Yeah, the Atlantic Roar, or basically the sound of the oceans, the true translation of the name of the tune. So let's see. here. This is a very flashy tune called The Shelf. Kieran Winnie plays a very, very fun version of this, and his wife Kathleen dances, and it's very fun to see. I'm sure you could find that on YouTube as well. But I learned this many years ago at a workshop over there. I think I got it off of Martin McGinney. And it's just fun. It's just a wild, fun, silly tune, and it's just built to be flashy. So either I'll crash and burn and it'll be fun. We'll see. But I'm going to aim for fun anyway. Built to just be a fun tune. All right, I'm going to finish off now. I'm going to play a bunch more reels, or a couple more reels anyway. This first one I learned many years ago under the name the Limerick House, but it's also called the Drummer. Very, very fun reel in C. And the second tune, Mhín, the King of Mhín, is played by James Byrne, and McHugh got his version of it, where he does a lot of fun, very Donegal-y sort of double stopping on that D, and then playing under it. So I'll make an attempt at that. So the Drummer, or the Limerick House, depending on who you ask, and Mhín. much for joining me.